Hey guys, welcome into the night. My name's Joanne, and with me I have Carl, McKeely, and Byron.
In tonight's episode, we explore Flagstaff Gardens and the cemetery hidden underneath it.
We'll also be talking to Mayo Iddleston, author, historian, and founder of Melbourne Walks.
Well, I had no idea there used to be a cemetery there. McKeely, could you give us a bit more information about the place?
Of course I can. Before it was Flagstaff Gardens, it was the location of Melbourne's first colonial cemetery. It was called Burial Hill, named after the first body of a young boy, Willie Goodman, was buried there in 1836. Only about 8 bodies were buried before the rapid expansion of the colony required a larger cemetery to be built in 1838. There's a monument in the garden built to honour the bodies that used to be there.
I can't believe there used to be graves in that area.
Yeah, if you really think about it, there could be graves everywhere.
It's kind of crazy to think it used to be a cemetery, eh?
I think it's just sad that the first body that was there was a little boy.
If you think about it though, life expectancy back then was a lot shorter than what we have now.
Do you guys wonder if anybody had any paranormal experiences there?
I don't know about Flagstaff Gardens, but we can definitely ask Melburnians if they've ever had any spooky encounters.
Throughout this week, we've actually talked and interviewed to some Melburnians in the city. Let's go check out and find out more.
Have you had any paranormal experiences?
Yes, I've experienced a couple of paranormal activities in my lifetime.
Yeah? All right, tell me a couple of, or tell me one of them.
There's a specific one in my area. There's a local legend of what's called the Witch's House. It's a decrepit old house that's run down, overgrown grass, barely standing on its foundation.
Yeah, very, very cursed looking, yeah?
Yeah. And every time you go near that house, there's a sense of bad vibes, bad juju, people just feeling ill, a sensation of evil around it, and dogs barking at it, the standard,
Is it just a creepy house, or is there like someone living in there or something?
Supposedly a witch lives in there, hence the name the Witch's House.
Yeah, I was wondering that.
Yeah. No one has seen her or seen anything of the sorts. Generally, people believe it's just a house where homeless people go to live.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll never know.
Until someone goes in one day, I guess.
If you're brave enough.
Not me.
So good madam, have you had any paranormal experiences?
Yes, I did. When I was 15, I woke up to go to the bathroom, right? And then when I walked past my kitchen, I saw the shadow of like a bald man like outside my window, and I could see it because the moonlight was like on the wall, right? And
How could you tell it was an old man?
no, like a bald man. Sorry.
A bald man?
Yeah,
Oh.
but he was like completely just still, no movement, like he wasn't even like breathing, like it was just
God.
very still. So I wasn't even scared at the moment, like at the time, because I thought, there's no way this is real.
Yeah, it was like a statue or
It was like
something.
a statue. It was like dead still. So I was like, okay, maybe just someone's statue outside my window. I don't know. And then I just went on my day, and then I came back. It was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that must have been. You never saw it ever again, or
No, that's the only time.
was there any news reportings of like a random bald man running around in people's backyards, or?
No, but I hope I'm not the only one that's seen the guy.
You hope you're not the only one that's seen the guy.
No. And okay, one more thing. I know a friend. My friend recently just lost her mom, so her mom passed away, right? So like 2 weeks after that, she said her dad heard the mom's voice when he was like doing gardening, and like she was like scolding him. Yeah, and then also like apparently they heard ringing of a like older phone from like the old house.
Oh, yeah.
The phone doesn't exist now, like it's not even in the new
they got
house,
disconnected.
but they can hear it like ringing, and then they went into the room and there's no phone there.
Yeah.
So that was weird.
I had it once.
Once? Okay.
A very, very long time ago.
Yeah, tell me more about that.
Well, I was in my bedroom in my old house, and I was lying on the beds and I was sleeping, and I looked up in the ceiling where the light fitting was,
Yeah.
and there were two. It wasn't the curtain. It wasn't because there was like light coming from the curtain because the curtains were closed,
Oh, yeah.
and I saw two figures with white hats and on the ceiling.
With white hats?
Yeah,
Oh.
no like white, no like shadows.
Oh.
And
So-
it couldn't have been the things weren't closed because I closed
Yeah.
them. And then I looked up and I went, I put my cover over thing going. Now woke up again, took the covers down, and they'd gone.
Oh, wow.
And I'd never seen that before. It only happened once, but I'd never seen it before.
Wow, that is spooky.
So
Do you
I
know?
don't think so. Whether that was just angels to come to see if I was okay, to look down on me, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a very weird experience.
Yeah. You didn't know if there was any like history in your house or anything about
No,
two men with white hats?
I don't think there's any history in that house. It's never happened before. It only happened once.
Yeah. Okay. So just a random encounter, I guess.
Yeah,
of
it was like, it
angels
wasn't
passing.
like a big figure. It was like a small figure, but they were floating and they were moving.
Yeah, they're moving. Ah, okay. Yeah.
so-
That is spooky.
So, do you guys believe in ghosts at all?
Not really, more in like spirits, but not really in creepy ghosts.
I've seen so many people who really believe in ghosts, and this is something for them, and they really hear things, and they can see things, they can imagine things, and stuff like that.
So, do you have any like friends and family that have any stories, any ghost stories?
So my mom, she believes in ghosts. So when my uncle passed away, she would keep telling me that she can like still feel him sometimes, or like if she's thinking about him like really hard, that she kind of like feels he's around her.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people have those stories because my mom does has the exact same thing. Yeah. Do you have any interesting stories from other people?
Well, yeah, when I was young, my grandmother, she was living in a building, the building just in front of us. They have like a haunted apartment somehow, and she was letting us believe when we were young, me and my brothers, that the light goes on and turn on and off, and you can hear sounds and some screams and stuff like that. And for a reason, it was happening, but I was young. When I grow older, I understood that there was two very old couples that was living inside. You never see them, but they are behind the scenes somehow, and they were always screaming and stuff like that. But yeah, some people really believe in ghosts. I could see that.
Have you guys ever wanted to go ghost hunting, or have you gone ghost hunting at all?
Not really.
No. No? All right, thank you guys so much. Thank you for your time.
It's fine.
Wow, it looks like so many different people have had paranormal experiences.
Let's find out who's going to Flagstaff for some ghost hunting.
Well, guys, this morning I wasn't feeling super creative, so we're going to flip for it. You guys ready? Loser goes.
All right.
Keely, what do you want to go?
I'll do tails.
Ready? Tails.
Flipping, Byron.
You win.
Heads.
Heads? Heads.
Yes! Told you mind games. High
going.
five.
All right, we'll see you guys later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, while the boys are on the way to Flagstaff, we have a message sent in from you guys. This story comes from Rebecca. Thanks for sharing. When I was younger, there was a street where people would say the ghost of a little girl would follow passerbys. My uncle didn't believe this story until one night he felt a cold breeze behind him. After that, a voice called saying, "Brother?" He ran all the way home panting and sweating. I was 5 at the time, and when he got home, I asked him, "Who's the girl behind you?"
Oh, so creepy.
I know. If my dad came into my house screaming and running, I wouldn't want him to have a girl behind him. Well, thank you so much for the story, Rebecca. Now let's check in on the boys in Flagstaff.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, we're here at Flagstaff Gardens, or originally known as Burial Hill, where the original first colonial cemetery was.
And we have something cool we want to show you. This is the original Burial Hill map. Oh, wow. Wow, look at the shape of that park.
It's a square now.
Yeah, I think it was cooler when it wasn't a square, to be fair.
No, not a big fan of squares.
Not really. Not really.
Right, well, do you think we're going to find any ghosts?
I'll give it like a 50-50.
Warming up to the idea.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Yo, do you think ghosts from the 1800s are like afraid of cars?
I don't know. They had like transportation stuff back then. You know, they had carriages and like horses and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if they think like cars are like a new breed of horse.
Yeah, like we selectively bred them to have like big metal skin.
Yeah, and like little wheel feet.
Yeah. And goats can be like motorcycles.
Yeah, and like bikes would be dogs, they would think.
They had bikes back then, right? They had bicycles?
Yeah, the ones with like the big wheels.
Maybe. Yo, Byron. Yo, Byron.
Yeah.
You know, before we were talking about the monument they put up because they couldn't afford a fence?
Right.
That's this monument.
Oh, wow.
Wow. There's some words up there. Take a look.
What's it say? In the memory of some of the earliest of the pioneers of this colony, whose remains were interred near this spot. Wow, creepy.
Yeah, a little bit. I never heard of the word interred before.
Yeah, it's like one of those creepy old-fashioned words.
Oh, looks like a good place to ghost hunt.
All right, let's go do it. Seems like a good spot to start investigating, yeah?
Yeah. Let's get on it. All right. Let's get this done.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah. Hi, my name's Carl.
My name's Byron.
We're here to investigate and not to harm. All right. Can you tell us your name? All right. Let's give that a listen. Hi, my name's Carl. My name's Byron. We're here to investigate and not to harm. All right. Can you tell us your name? Oh, that's just another recording. All right.
Can you tell us how you died?
Give it a listen. All right. Can you tell us how you died?
Do you hear anything on that one?
No, not really.
Yeah, neither.
How about we give the EMF a try now?
Yeah, sounds good.
Do you see something?
Okay, do you want to ask a question first?
Yeah. Do you know what year it is?
Okay. I've got one.
Yeah.
How many of the 8 of you are ghosts currently?
Right, 8 people.
Some of them maybe like don't have unfinished business, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Some of them were just chilling.
some of them were just, just natural causes, just left this earth, satisfied.
Yeah, I mean not everybody's ghosts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
No, stop. I just saw something. Right over there in the tree.
What tree? There's a lot of
Right.
trees.
No, the big one. Yeah, no, I'm serious. There was like something. There's like something.
There's a lot of big trees.
Like right
There's a
behind
dude walking.
the bench, dude. Can you see that?
I guess.
Yeah, it was like there for 2 seconds.
I don't know what you're talking about. You joking around?
No, I'm not. Seriously, dude.
It's a joke, right?
It's not there anymore?
No. Wait.
My flash is like really weak. I can't see anything.
My flash is dying as well.
Dude, it was right there. Yeah.
Wait, it could be that thing.
No, we didn't get out of here. I'm done.
No, you're joking. You're Josh.
I'm not done with this.
Well, that was weird.
Yeah, definitely.
Hopefully the guys will come back soon and tell us what happened.
On the other hand, today we're honored to talk with Mayor Edelson about his work with Melbourne Walks, a company that he founded in 1991 and now owns over 100 different tours in Victoria, as well as having written 15 books. Thanks for joining us, Mayor.
Pleasure to be here.
So what inspired you to find Melbourne Walks?
My name's Mayor Idelson. I'm an author and historian, and I'm the owner of MelbourneWalks.com, which is one of Melbourne's oldest walking companies, probably been running for about 30 years. Well, I was born in Australia 2 years after my parents arrived from Europe. They were Holocaust survivors. And maybe because of that, I have a very passionate attachment to the city and to Australia as a home and a refuge. I really, really love the Australian landscape and always have since I was a small child. And I was involved in the history and environmental movements as a volunteer. And, you know, when you do that, you run walks for people to raise money. So it was kind of a passion and a hobby. But when I finished my career as a social worker, or even while I was a social worker, I was always running walks for people like the Centre for Adult Education. So it was a hobby, if you like, or a passion, and became a career as well. We probably provide tours for about 2,000 school children a year, and plus, of course, a lot of Melburnians, a lot of visiting people to Melbourne, and including overseas and interstate.
So do you have a favorite piece of information about Flagstaff?
Flagstaff Gardens is a fascinating place because it's a place of firsts. It was the first communication centre, flagpole indicating shipping. It was the first science location in Melbourne. It had a meteorological observatory because people knew nothing about the weather. It was the first place for the telegraph, which is kind of the forerunner in many ways of the internet. It was the first public park in Melbourne.
Oh, that's nice.
It was the first children's playground in Melbourne.
Also,
It's adjacent to the first church in Melbourne, St James Cathedral.
A lot of firsts.
So, in many ways, the hill is the story of the city, the beginning of the city. It was also the first cemetery, and it was one of the Melbourne was known as the City of Five Hills. They were all corroboree and Aboriginal campsites. So Flagstaff is the tallest of the five.
Wow. So do you have a favourite tour that you like to run on Melbourne walks?
Well, trying to describe favourite tours is like trying to say that you've got favourite children, which you should never do, because they're all creations. And so seeing them enacted and seeing people participating is always a joy. I guess I'm attracted to tours which are strange or unusual or different or quirky. One of my favourite tours is in the footsteps of the Dunny Man, which follows the infrastructure of the city and turns the participants into sanitation crew.
Wow.
Emptying the toilet cans from the infrastructure in the city, and the people have to compete against each other to see who can find all the locations, and the winners and losers. So I'm pretty absorbed. I spent a lot of time mentally in the 19th century and in the 80s and 90s, and trying to find the lives of ordinary people. Yeah. Obviously, that's not a tour that would appeal to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So are there any other hidden cemeteries in Melbourne?
I spent a year in St Kilda Cemetery at one point writing a book for the bicentenary called Nation Builders, which was about the people who were buried there at the time of Federation. For example, 2 members of the original federal parliament, the first federal parliament, including Alfred Deakin, the Prime Minister 3 times, are buried in St Kilda. And there are always mysteries about the cemeteries because it's not always quite clear who is buried there.
Yeah.
People with grave markers, those grave markers often eroded or stolen. I mean, they're often made of wood, so they didn't last very long. And sometimes there's corruption in the cemeteries where people were buried in graves on top of other people in order to ensure income for the trustees of the cemetery. So it's a fascinating place to look at these stories. We also have records of other graveyards, for example, possibly at the rear of Christchurch in Ackland Street, where parishioners have claimed there used to be gravestones. And we do know there were burials at Elwood in the first quarantine station on the Elwood Bluff.
Wow.
Those bodies were reburied in St Kilda Cemetery eventually, but there were bodies there that weren't officially recorded, additional bodies. So there remain mysteries quite often about that. But the biggest mystery, of course, is the Queen Victoria Market, where there are 69,000 people buried still today under the car park and adjacent stalls.
I didn't know that.
One of those mysteries is why would a city in the early 1900s, why would Melbourne City Council, why would the Queen Victoria Market desecrate the graves of its founding fathers and mothers and its traditional owners, pour concrete over the top of them and park cars over them for a century?
Oh, that seems so disrespectful.
That's a hard question to answer.
Well, do you think because these gravestones have been stolen or lost that there are still dead bodies there that we don't know about?
I do not. I mean, we do know that there were about 7 burials, and we do know the names of the people who were buried there. According to the Royal Historical Society of Victoria, it's unclear whether those bodies were removed. I guess we haven't really got records of them being removed. So in the absence of those records,
It's hard to say.
we do assume that the bodies are still there in the vicinity of the memorial marker on the hill.
So moving forward, how do you think we should go about preserving these hidden cemeteries and these hidden mysteries that Melbourne has?
Well, I think the first step is to believe that the graves of people are important,
Yeah, definitely.
that they are worthy of dignity and respect.
Of course, yeah.
The only reason that they are treated disrespectfully is that they're anonymous. It'd be very hard to
Feel something.
destroy or despoil the grave of somebody who, if we knew who they were, their name, the life they lived, their connections to other people, their ancestors in other countries. But when they're anonymous, so in the case of Queen Victoria Market, the records were destroyed. So they've been able to removed 10% of the people. They were the ones who were wealthier, basically, because they had stone memorials.
Yeah.
So basically, it's the lower socioeconomic classes who are anonymous. So there's a kind of discrimination against those people, but are they really anonymous? I mean, I don't think 6,000 people are really anonymous. I don't believe that there aren't records of funerals, aren't records in churches, obituaries in magazines or newspapers that would identify many of those people. So I think the first step is to understand that there would be no city of Melbourne without these people. They faced many, many challenges. They travelled thousands of miles in dangerous wooden ships on perilous journeys to get to Australia. They had hopes and dreams and ideals. They're actually remains of people. And instead of seeing them as a liability, as something that could impede progress and impede the restructure, of a modern day market and modern day speculators, that they actually could be a huge resource for today's Australians in understanding where they come from.
Yeah.
And the challenges of the past that helped build the society we have today.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really beautiful put. Thank you so much, Mayor, for joining us. I'm sure the population of Melbourne has a lot more information on what actually is buried beneath us.
Thanks, Joanne, and really delighted to do the interview.
But thank you so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
good rest of your night.
Video.
We're back.
What was that stuff at the end? Like, what happened?
I don't know, and I don't want to know.
Yeah, I'm definitely not sleeping well tonight.
It looked really scary, but I'm glad everyone's okay.
I think that's all we have time for tonight. The guys probably need to chill after that incident.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, thanks for tuning in and venturing with us into the night.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Good night.